Welcome to the Get Back, music work talk in Central Texas, Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed, private sector, employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome to the Get Back. It is Friday the 13th, May 13th, 2022. And I'm Aaron, and Russell's here. Hello, Russell. Man, we always talk about the links down in the show description. Those are kind of the best ways to get a hold of the union office, the musicians union office, different resources for recovering economically in the music business from the COVID pandemic, which is what this show is mostly been about, but we're talking about all kinds of things related to music now. It's music work talk in Central Texas, so we're all over the place.
That's right.
Yeah, man. We always do beverages. I'm doing a giant thing of coffee here. What are you doing, Russell?
Giant thing of water.
There you go. Hey, man, you got to stay hydrated.
Right.
Yes, indeed, man. Gosh, well, we've got several good articles, and then one not so good article. Should we talk about the good news locally first?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Make the folks happy.
Oh man, right? Well, you want to tell them, or should I tell them? What do you think?
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay.
Jump in there.
Well, we're talking about the results of the election, and in the I can't remember the name of the proposal. Was it Prop A? Is that what it was, or was it Prop 1?
A and B.
A and B, yeah.
Yeah.
It was two parts that they both passed in the city of Austin, and they're both good. The one that people I think we're talking about the most is the one about marijuana. They're not going to prosecute almost any marijuana infractions, and that's good for musicians, and you know why. But it's good for everybody, and it's just becoming more and more obvious. What a sort of racial element that enforcement tool had over the last 50, 100 years, or whatever. Supposedly, the Austin police, weren't doing that anyway. They had already stopped doing that several years ago, but this puts it in force. Puts it into the law, and that's good, because they could just decide to start doing it again, right? They could have, but now they can't.
Now they can.
Yep.
And that's the exciting part, is that there is a mandate in place that you can't do this. It's going to be an accountability now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other side of it that seemed to be totally unopposed as well was the no-knock warrants. And it's now codified that they're not going to use no-knock warrants, at least in the city of Austin. So that's some progress.
This whole thing spawned from Breonna Taylor being killed in her home, shot 8 times, with a no-knock warrant in the wrong place, the wrong people.
Yeah.
And
Officer Breonna Taylor.
also, yeah,
Yeah.
and people have had it with that. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to feel safe in your own home,
Mm-hmm.
where you wake up and they just come barging in, and they're like pissed off because you decide to defend your home.
Mm-hmm.
How are you supposed to know that they're law officials?
Yeah.
At 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and by the same token, how are they supposed to know who the heck you are when they barge into your house unannounced?
Right.
And obviously, yeah.
I just don't see how those type of mistakes are incompetence. You
Mm-hmm.
should not be walking up to the wrong door. I mean, you should have all that. I mean, if you know you're going to do this, you should have all your ducks in a row before you leave the judge.
Yeah.
It's this day, this time, this guy.
Well, and hopefully it won't be an issue when we're not doing those things at all. We're not doing the no-knock warrants at all. That's probably the safest way to do it. I mean, they still say that there's situations where they would like to be able to do it when they think that the person's going to escape out the back door, but
Sure.
but then it's a staffing issue. They just got to cover the back door, right? I mean, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they pride themselves on having the brightest and newest hardware and technology. You go back there and wait for them.
Yeah, I mean, not that we know, but yeah, it just seems that way, and apparently it seems that way to the voters as well. So,
It was an overwhelming vote,
yes,
85%.
yeah,
That means that the majority of us tonight's like we don't really want this.
yeah,
We would like to feel safe in our own home.
yeah. Easy vote. Yep. So, hope everybody voted, because we got to vote again pretty soon. The end of this month.
24th.
What was that?
24th.
Yes, sir.
24th.
Yep. We got to do it again. Oh, you got it there. You got it. Oh, I see.
Yes, sir.
I see those eyes.
Come here. There it is.
There it is. Yeah. The
Have
registration.
that ready.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, the next one is the primary runoff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you only
get
get to
to
vote on
decide.
one side or the other.
Right.
So pick
No
your careful.
chicanery involved.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there
You
could be
can't
some
go in there
chicanery.
and prop up a candidate that you know has no chance of winning in the general election. Oh, well, this guy won the primary. Yeah, he's going to get slaughtered in the general election.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who knows? But our friend Paxton that we've talked about quite a bit is on that primary. So
That's right.
if you're voting on that side,
Think about that.
have a look at that. Yeah.
Have a close look at that.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness. Yeah.
Right.
So I suppose on that note, we can go into the other part of state news here about the transgender care. There's an article from today. It says Texas can resume child abuse investigations for transgender care. Supreme Court says.
That was on my list.
And oh my God.
And it's frightening that they're going to. I mean, basically, that's the no-knock warrant. So they just kind of come in and go, "Let me see the kid."
Yeah. Just a different type of no-knock warrant, and in some ways, but for a horrible reason. And like, oh my gosh. And yeah, this is another thing with the Supreme Court's in the news. They've been in the news about the abortion rights. Rescind. What do you say? The rescinding of
They want to
exactly.
overturn the law, and somehow, somewhere inside their chambers, spawned a leak.
Mm-hmm.
Because we wouldn't have known that is how. Well, we knew that's how they were going to vote, but not in lockstep like that.
But it's just hammering the point home over and over again that we have to vote in every election, and we've got to turn that Supreme Court back over. But that's going to take a long time. Like we've got to have people that support women's right to choose appointing the Supreme Court, and that's the president.
Right.
So there's wow. Just amazing. And so anyway, the local news here is about the transgender kids. We're talking about kids here, and it's this Texas. I guess it's a law now, or no? It's an order. What? No, there was an order that blocked the law. Yeah.
The Texas Supreme Court overturned a temporary injunction to stop them from doing it.
Oh, okay, that's
Now
right.
they can go back to doing it.
You're right. This is the Texas Supreme Court, not the
Yeah.
federal Supreme Court. But they, yeah,
But to get them to.
yeah. Hopefully, we'll get up there. Yeah. But yeah, so they're going to allow these the parents of transgender kids that are where is it here when they provide adolescent transgender kids with gender affirming medical care, they're going to be they're allowing them to be prosecuted for child abuse, which is the opposite of what is happening. It's just insane. And people may, just like the abortion thing, like, oh, they might ask, like, well, why is this an issue for this musician podcast, and like, well, some musicians are women. Still, a lot of musicians, are women. A lot of musicians are transgender and historically have been. I mean, we're in show business here, people. Like, these are our people. Like, and yeah, we don't want to see this kind of harassment, discrimination. I mean,
but we don't. They're our guys. We don't care if we love them.
Yeah, it's horrible. So, whew, yeah. So, and that has everything to do with the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is heavily involved in that, so we've got to vote. We've got to vote these people out. It's just horrible. Yeah. So.
May 24th is coming up soon.
There you go. Put it on the calendar.
Yep.
Bring your state ID,
right.
Either driver's license or whatever ID you have, and you bring your registration card just in case. Yeah.
Don't ask for any water outside.
Oh gosh, yeah, and don't give anybody any water, right? You might get arrested. Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's getting to that season where you kind of need to bring some water with
it's hot
you.
out there.
Yeah.
99 and 97. And
go in the morning if you can. Go in the morning if you can, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on from there. That's the bad news. You want to talk about that article that you forwarded me earlier this week?
Well, yeah. It was really uplifting to see how America has said enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be treated like this any longer. I mean, we want the same working conditions that you have,
mm-hmm.
and we want the same benefits, that you have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a crying shame that somebody has to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay for living expenses.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about medical expenses, that's just living. Just to keep a roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason why they were doing that, other than profits, greed, and the shareholders are like, that guy stays. As long as he's making us money, that guy stays.
Mm-hmm.
So the article was, very uplifting to me. And when you read it, like, wow, this is where we should be. And it helps that they can resurrect the PRO Act.
Well, yeah, they need to, yeah, and it's really nice to hear that they're talking about that. So this article is on CNN.com,
mm-hmm.
and the title is "Opinion: No More Union Busting. It's time for companies to give their workers what they deserve." Which is a nice thing to say, but that's not true yet. I mean, there's going to be lots of union busting, but at least we're saying that, and yeah, people are starting to become aware.
We wouldn't say the word.
Mm-hmm.
We're association. No, we're not. We're just a group of guys. No, we're not.
Oh, you're talking about when you say the word, you're talking about the word union.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say the word.
People are like, oh, we're just no, you're not. You are, because if you deny who you are when you walk in there to negotiate, you've lost leverage.
Say it loud
before you even sit down.
Yeah. Yep.
Because lawfully, the union is the only one that can bargain collectively for, say, treatment and wages.
Mm-hmm.
And if you call it something else and you let them get away with that, when you get hauled into court, they say, "Well, you said you want a union."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Technicality, boom, game over. Bye, you lose.
Yeah.
Next,
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's yeah. I mean, we're just seeing so many examples this year in really even in the big news of why we need the PRO Act and the different issues that it addresses that should not be issues. I mean, they shouldn't be things that employers can even do. They should be
right?
illegal, and they used to be illegal, and they've just been gradually worn down, and they need to be shorn back up because we're getting killed. The working class is just getting killed. Is literally getting killed in this country.
Right. And pretty soon there'll be just no work middle class at all.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be just two, the wealthy and then us.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, man. So, yeah. This article has several things here about reforming labor law, meeting workers at the bargaining table, meaning even once the Amazon folks are finding out about this right now. They won union recognition, but now they have to bargain a contract. And Amazon's going to do everything they can. Like, oh, let's push that back another 6 months. Oh, let's not do that till next year. They're going to delay and delay and delay, and they can do that in a lot of ways under the law. And the National Labor Relations Board is supposed to help them with that, but they haven't got the teeth that they used to anymore. We need to give them back the teeth, and as well as have a National Labor Relations Board that actually supports working people, which we have a majority of people on the National Labor Relations Board now, finally, that support working people. But all of them should support working people. It shouldn't be a majority. It should be the whole board.
You would think.
Yeah. Committing to racial and gender equity is another issue on here, which you wouldn't think that'd be something that a union would have to force an employer to do, but it is. It is, and yeah, and that's an old issue, that hundreds of years old.
And discrimination against elderly, against your age. Well, you're really too old.
Oh, ageism, yeah.
So we'll decide to go with the younger guy. We can pay him less.
That's a lot of folks are talking about that now, of course, because the boomer generation is getting to that age where they're discriminated against. And so a lot of people are talking about that now. There's just more people in that situation. And having a union is the only way to get around that, because they will try to divide you by age. They'll try to divide you by race, by gender, by anything in order to keep us from working together, because that's our power against.
Well, it comes down to the Wizard of Oz. Don't pay the guy behind the curtain any mind. Just look at the guy on the screen.
Don't look at that guy.
Don't listen to
him. He's just working the levers back there behind the green curtain.
He's nobody.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So the other thing, the other article that I wanted to talk about, has to do with I guess it's kind of the theme of the month in a way for us, or the theme of the quarter, is that the revolution will not be televised, and that there's all kinds of unionism and labor stories that just don't get reported on in the major media, that we just don't hear about unless you go and find them. And this story I have now found in a couple other places, but it happened before our broadcast last week, and we should have talked about it last week, but I didn't even hear about it on Friday, but it happened Thursday last week.
But you had to work to get it. You had to go look for it.
And I'm finding it a couple other places now, but as of last week, I only could find it on this one website called Common Dreams, which is like a unionism website, progressive, unionism, worker-friendly website. Now there's also an article on MSNBC and a couple other places, but anyway, what we're talking about is Chris Smalls, who is the president of the Amazon Labor Union in Staten Island, that won their union's recognition in their vote. Now that we were just talking about, and this guy's done an amazing job of pulling these workers together and putting this union together with his fellow workers. Now he doesn't even work there anymore. He's been fired, and that's another thing that is still illegal, and that Amazon got away with, and it's just stretching it out. The enforcement of that law, that is totally illegal. So this guy doesn't even have a job there anymore.
Right.
But he went to Washington and testified at a Senate Finance Committee hearing, and that's the committee that Bernie Sanders chairs, is the chairperson of, and to talk about the challenges that they've had with Amazon and all of the different violations of labor law that Amazon committed during this campaign. I think the Common Dreams article listed some of the statistics here. Gosh, I mean, it's just astounding. I think something like, where's that number? I don't want to misquote it, but anyway, I think it was something like 40 different. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they filed over 40 unfair labor practice complaints in 11 months. This is the union, the ALU, the Amazon Labor Union, filed 40 complaints in 11 months about what Amazon was doing, and the NLRB has confirmed that Amazon did break the law when they fired one of the other workers, Daquan Smith, and so it's all there, but the enforcement takes a long time because the NLRB is understaffed, it's underfunded, and only a very it's a majority, but it's a narrow majority, even support workers that are on the National Labor Relations Board. We need to change that. I mean, that has to be. There's so much to do, and so we got to stay involved in this. But kind of the highlight of the hearing was that Lindsey Graham, one of the conservatives on the committee, called into question why they were even having this hearing, and he claimed it was dangerous and radical to allow former workers and labor experts to make accusations about Amazon in order to hold the corporation accountable, and Mr. Small's answer was the system is broken, and that's a fact, and that shut down the room right there, and so that's really inspiring to hear, and I'm really, really glad to hear about that. But we had to really work to find this information.
The article, yeah.
And so that'll be in the show notes too. We'll have the Common Dreams article and the MSNBC article that is maybe a little longer, maybe a little bit longer, but yeah. Oh, and one of the points you were making in the other article was that the congressional staffers are starting to unionize, right? Yeah,
want a union.
That's a very good thing. Why not? I mean, those folks are worked to death by those Congress people. So everybody deserves to have a union, because there's no other way that one working person in a giant workplace with hundreds of people in it, or even a dozen people in it. There's no way that one worker can really have a fair negotiation with an employer other than having a union. There's no other way.
But would you like to be that staffer that's sitting in Lindsey Graham's office when all of this goes down, and you're sitting looking at him and he goes, "Well, I don't really agree with all this." Really?
We'll see. Wait till our vote. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait till our contract negotiations. Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah. So there's good news. I mean, the labor movement is waking up all over the United States. I don't think did I talk about it last week? Oh, that's right. It was very short last week.
Yeah, we just touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. But I spoke on May 1st. I spoke at a labor celebration for May Day, and that was with several other labor unions like the electricians, the social workers union, Education Austin, that represents the Austin ISD school workers who are not teachers, the other ones, the bus drivers, cooks, and maintenance folks, and everybody else. They spoke. I spoke from the Musicians Union. And it was at the Butterfly Bar, and the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America chapter here in Austin, put that on with the Butterfly Bar, and it was a really nice event. A lot of young unionists. There were some bands played, and the headliner was a union act.
That's the way to go.
On a union contract, they got pension on that contract and everything, so they got union benefits and everything, and that was great. So that really lent a lot of credibility to the whole thing. And I spoke about the San Antonio Symphony strike. We should probably update on that too. But I spoke on that and how it related to the PRO Act in the same way we just talked about it. It's another example of another thing that the PRO Act would fix, or several things. All these stories have several things about the PRO Act, really. But
we can take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sign of a pen.
Yeah, it would be so easy. Really, I mean, if they could do it under budget reconciliation, it's already passed the House. It just has to pass the Senate. If they could put that under budget reconciliation, or if they could get 10 Republican senators, because I think Manchin is still out on it. That's the problem. I think they can't even get it passed under budget reconciliation because not all the. Yeah, it's a mess. But again, we got to vote. We got to vote all the time. So San Antonio Symphony. I mean, they were under federal mediation is what was happening. So a federal mediator came in to mediate between the musicians and the management and try to get them to an agreement. And the musicians, offered several things that they would negotiate on, or they would give up to come to an agreement, and the management wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't move.
Wouldn't hear of it.
From their position at all, which is to fire half the orchestra, and that's something the musicians cannot agree to, because it would destroy the orchestra. That's been their position the whole time, and so they met, I think, 4 or 5 times, and the musicians finally said, okay, well, we're done. There's been no progress. There's been no no move to for good faith negotiation from the management at all. So
right.
So they've said, well, we're done with federal mediation, and that it's a shame, because it does, I think that does cost money. So
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Not free to bring that mediator in. Not free.
Yeah. So that's a shame. The management of the San Antonio Symphony really embarrassed themselves last week as well, as they fired their own conductor, because the conductor was going to be on one of the musician organized concerts, and they fired the conductor because of that. And that's made international news. That's all over the world now. San Antonio Symphony fires their own conductor. And
yeah, it's a serious embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, they're just shooting themselves in the proverbial foot just over and over and over. I'm not sure what's going to happen. If another organization will come in to administer the symphony, if the symphony will become a co-op or something, I don't know. But there are great musicians down there, and they're going to be making music no matter what. They already are. I mean, they're flying. The musicians down there are flying all over the country and all over the world to play other gigs, and then they're putting on their own concerts in San Antonio. And so hopefully that gets resolved at some point, but it sounds like it may not involve the current management. I mean, that organization may just dissolve. I don't know. They don't seem to want to do the job even, so I don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
I don't understand their position either.
Yeah. We don't know.
We're not really trying to get you to agree on anything. Just do what we tell you.
Just don't wreck the symphony, Yeah, I mean, and it's a wonderful, I mean, just an incredible symphony. They've been they've been a full-time symphony since like 1939 or something like that. I mean, it's just, that's a great, gigantic city that deserves a great orchestra, and they have a great orchestra hall that's just going to
Yeah.
waste. That's not totally going to waste. I think some other stuff is happening there, but that's one of the stated goals. Just like we have the Long Center here as one of the stated goals is to be a home for the symphony, and that's what the Tobin Center is in San Antonio. So, but either way, we're with our brothers and sisters and siblings in San Antonio with the musicians of the San Antonio Symphony organization, and we're here to support you. And yeah, you in Austin, in Central Texas, go to the concerts. It's close. You can go to the concerts. You can buy a T-shirt. Oh, they got great T-shirts. You see, our brother Jonathan had one at the last meeting.
I did.
Those
I
are
did
good
see
T-shirts.
that,
Yeah, yep. So there's all kinds of stuff we can do to stay together in solidarity with the workers down there. So
Nothing wrong with showing your pride.
yeah, that's right, man. Oh, we also have T-shirts too. The Austin Federation of Musicians have great T-shirts, and they're available on the website. I think even shipped. They're so cheap, it's amazing. I mean, and so, and if you pick them up at the office, it's even cheaper because you don't have to pay the shipping. So there you go.
And they're good quality stuff. I know because I have a couple of them.
There you go. Yeah, and we already also have coffee mugs and shopping bags. So. There you go.
Pens.
Oh yeah, we'll give you a pen for free. That's a good one, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, anything else we got to cover on the show this week, brother?
I think that's it. Other than the rent relief fund, it hasn't got up and running yet, but it's still in the works.
Yep, they say that that's going to get up and running. I suppose we could talk about the live music fund of the city. There was an announcement about that where they say they're not going to be able to award anything until next year now, which is kind of disappointing to hear, although I'm not sure how much hope we were holding out for that anyway, because of the challenges of deciding how to actually award those funds, but there we go. So that's a topic of conversation as well. We can put that article in the show notes, but that's just Austin. So, yeah. All right. Well, you, the viewer, if you're watching this, if you're in the music industry, don't give up. We can do this. We can come back stronger than ever. Now is the perfect time to do your business better. Use a contract. Join the union. Use a union contract. It's the strongest contract you can use. If you do it the right way, it guarantees that you are going to get paid for what the employer agrees to, and that's everything. We don't have that any other way. And so anyway, we can do our business better. We can stay together. We can share information like we're doing right now.
Right.
We come to the meetings, share even more information, and protect ourselves and our brothers and sisters and siblings all over the United States and Canada, wherever you go. The AFM is there. So, yeah. All right, and me and Russell are here to talk to you about it. So give us a call. Let's talk about it.
Right, we're here.
Yeah. All right, well, we will see you next week on The Get Back. Take care.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, yes, like and subscribe. Thank you. Yep. Well done, sir.